Hello there, everybody. My name is Tony Grillo. Welcome to my channel, Wisconsin Hugs. This is now the 7th installment of Star Trek football. I am not sure how many more of these I can do. I was hoping to get to the Super Bowl, and I may still be able to do that, but I noticed the views have gone way down, and maybe the interest just isn't there anymore. But I do drive semi-truck, and I do love writing stories and challenging myself with being as creative as I can be. And so I'm having fun putting it together. The last, I don't know, season 1 is a hard season to watch or even read through the summaries of the shows. There were things that I had to change as far as the story went, just to make things a little more interesting, like the conflict that where Patrick or Captain Picard was thinking about, not happy with Tasha Yar's service. That actually did not happen in season 1. I added that in there because I thought I felt it made the stories more interesting. And in terms of football, I mean, GMs are constantly looking at their team and saying, if this person isn't performing well, should I cut them? Should I release them? Should I bring somebody else in to take their position? They're doing that all the time, every day. That's part of what football is all about. And I thought, as far as making Star Trek like football, I felt that would make the story a little more interesting, that Picard felt that way. Not only that, but Tasha Yar in the first season, she actually kind of did mess up a couple times there. She, she is security chief. Her job is to protect the ship, and Wesley takes the ship over in like 30 seconds. A boy. He can't even drive a car. And yet he was able to figure out a way to hijack the ship drunk. He wasn't even in the right mind. You would think that a security chief would have come up with some precautions that would have prevented that. And then the fact that she got kidnapped, while they were together and having a meeting together, that's another part of the series or the story where she failed in her duties. I mean, she's security chief. If you get kidnapped, you're I don't care who you are, you're not a very good security chief. I'm sure it does happen in the military. You have a security detail that follows a leader, and then they get ambushed, and that does happen, but still, the security people failed to do their job, and in that instance, I felt Tasha Yar was negligent, and I felt that Picard, they wasted an opportunity there. Picard should have been considering whether or not he wanted to keep her around. It would have made the show more interesting. Eventually, they did settle on a character. This is Lieutenant Barclay, and he was a character that kind of would rather play video games or play in the holodeck than do his duties. He was always late showing up for his shift. He stuttered. He didn't really want to work hard. And he just kind of slipped through the cracks, and he kept going from ship to ship. And at one time Picard said, no, let's see if we can't show him the right way, right way. And this guy spent a whole career going from ship to ship and getting booted off every ship in Starfleet. Let's end that cycle. And he was a genius, and eventually he came around to being a great, contributing quite a bit and helping the ship out and everything. But if you recognize him, he also played on the A-Team. He was Mad Dog Murdoch. He flew the helicopters, airplanes, whatever, anything that could fly, he could fly. And he also spent his time in a mental asylum. So, I mean, he has played two great characters, two beloved characters in TV. And it's been really hard reading even the summaries of these shows in season one because they weren't very well written. I mean, the only thing that saved them was the brilliant acting. They had some great characters like John DeLance playing Q, and he put out a great performance every time he showed up. He was fun to watch, and even the lady that played Luxana Troy, Counselor Troy's mom. Major Barrett? She was fantastic, and she also played Nurse Chapel in the original Star Trek. Even though the show that, she appeared in was pretty lame, her performance stole the show. We just enjoyed watching her because she loved to embarrass Captain Picard. And then in another episode, Picard himself had a couple great performances, even though the script writing wasn't all that hot. The stories tend to be in season one, if it didn't involve a godlike being who could control everybody with their thoughts, which that's part of what the Q is, but there was also, they encountered some other beings that could do the same thing. That was so reminiscent of the old Star Trek. You saw a lot of that with Captain Kirk. And then, it was also, a lot of it was morality, dealt with, right versus wrong. And some of them dealt with meeting people who had archaic traditions, and some of them were just downright wrong. Like they dealt with arranged marriages, one episode. Another one dealt with slavery, and another one dealt with in one of the episodes with the Ligonians, this would have been the third episode. They were all black, and they were very primitive, and you couldn't do a show like that today. But this was 1987. I would have been a senior in high school at that time. I was 18 years old. I was not a big fan of the show, but my dad actually watched it. And then he started getting me hooked on it. But I started following it second season because I was going through the summaries of these shows. And I was like, oh my God, I never saw that one. I didn't see this one. I didn't see the other one. So the only one I remembered was when the Enterprise exploded right in the opening scene. And then it kept exploding throughout the entire show. That one I actually really enjoyed. I thought that was a great episode, and I saw that as a rerun. So I didn't even realize that was a season one episode until I was going through the summaries. But, you have these, this is episode 3, season 1, and you could see they're dressed in African tribal gear. And they're considered a primitive race. I actually had to change the story, and I didn't mention anything about being primitive, and I, of course, had to turn it into a football game, which I thought I did a pretty creative job doing. Yeah, you would not be able to do that today. So, getting back to the story, Commander Riker was offered a job by the Q. Q wanted to try to sign Commander Riker and have him join the Q Continuum, which Commander Riker did turn down. Then, in another episode, we saw the Enterprise being stuck in a time loop where they kept crashing and crashing and crashing into Dr. Fraser Crane's ship over and over again. And supposedly, Christy Alley was supposed to be in this episode. You know, she played Lieutenant Saavik in the second Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan. And but apparently she couldn't get her schedule to coincide with the filming of that show. But man, that would have been fun if they would have had both Cheers stars in that episode. And then we had another episode where Picard encounters a future Picard. This Picard 6 hours into the future. And he was found in a shuttlecraft that was also 6 hours into the future. And apparently the logs of that shuttlecraft showed that the Enterprise had blown up. There was like a vortex that appeared, and the Enterprise blew up, and Picard was the only survivor in a shuttlecraft. And then when the vortex did finally appear, the regular Picard, he was basically asking the other Picard, so did you not consider any other alternatives? Why did you flee the ship? And then they found out that apparently the vortex had like an intelligence, and it was zapping only Picard, and Picard thought, I have to get to the shuttlecraft and flee so I could save the Enterprise. And so the other Picard is heading to the shuttle bay, to jump into the shuttlecraft, and the real Picard, or the Picard that wasn't from the future, he's like realizes he's in a time loop, just like they were earlier when their ship kept crashing into Dr. Fraser Crane's ship from Cheers over and over again. He realized, and so this was another episode where they used the time loop, but it was actually a very good episode because we saw Picard actually kill himself. He takes his phaser and he just blasts himself. He says, the cycle ends now. And he shoots the other Picard and basically disintegrates him, much to the horror of everybody that was on the ship. And then he orders his ship to go full into the vortex, and they survive. So it's been very hard trying to create these episodes and turn them into football games. And so all I could say is that the Enterprise has won 4 in a row, and now they're 8-0. And the next game is going to be a doozy because it's going to be a divisional matchup with, it'll be the second meeting between Team Enterprise and the Green Bay Ferengi Packers. And just right before the start of the game, Aaron Rodgers basically requests to talk to quarterback Captain Picard. And A-Rod, well, I'll just call him A-Rod. A-Rod tells Picard he has a gift to present to him. It's his old starship, the Stargazer. Captain Picard was the quarterback of this team before he took over the Enterprise. This is what he looked like back in those days when he was a much younger captain. And the story goes, the enemy ship on a return arc now faces the Stargazer. And the Stargazer jumps to warp for a split second, aimed directly at the enemy. And for a moment, the enemy sensors, which aren't as technologically advanced as they are now in Picard's current time, but back then, the enemy sensors detected 2 Stargazers. And taking advantage of the confusion, because they didn't know which ship to fire on, the Stargazer fires all weapons and destroys that enemy vessel. This became known as the Picard maneuver. And the other Picard maneuver was taken from the very second episode, The Naked Now, when they were both under a virus. And this virus made them lose all inhibitions, and they wanted to party, and they wanted to have sex with each other. And this is what's known as the other Picard maneuver. You're slightly more attractive than my ex, and that's definitely going to help my self-esteem. Okay, well, maybe he didn't use that as a pickup line, or he was thinking that because we all know Picard is quite the stud. But he did have a few lines here that he... that wasn't on the TV episode. First one was, "Are you a haunted house? Because I'm going to scream when I'm in you. Can you do telekinesis? Because you made a part of me move without touching it." This one is a little X-rated here. "One of my friends told me girls hate oral. Do you want to help me prove him wrong? And are you a drill sergeant? Because you have my privates standing at attention. Your breasts remind me of Mount Rushmore. My face should be among them. Do you like to draw? Because I put the D in raw." And the story goes that the ship was badly damaged during that attack. And as soon as they destroyed the other ship, they all had to abandon themselves into a couple shuttlecrafts. And they wound up floating around in space for several months until somebody came to rescue them. And they thought the ship had blown up. The Stargazer had blown up. So it was really crazy when Aaron Rodgers had told them that, hey, here's your old ship, and we would like to give it to you give it back to you because it belongs to you, and it's a present from us to you. And so Picard, right before the game, Picard decided he had a little bit of time. He wanted to go visit his old ship, and so he went over there, and as he was walking through the ship, he happened to find the football he used to score the game-winning touchdown. Because just before the ship blew up, they were able to carry that ball across the end zone for a touchdown. And they won that game. The Stargazer won that game. And this was the game ball. and he found it. So he thought, you know what? I'm going to use this ball for today's game as good luck. So he grabbed the ball and he went back to his ship. And when he got back to his ship, he started feeling, a headache coming on. And, but, that wasn't going to stop him from playing in this game, And so he had Dr. Crusher check him out, but she couldn't find anything wrong with him. And as the game went on, Captain Picard was not playing very well. He threw a bunch of different interceptions and couldn't put any points on the board. And it was really confusing to him because it felt like when he was on the field, it was like the players' jerseys kept switching colors. So like his own team kept switching from red to white, white to red. And as for the Green Bay Ferengi Packers, same with them. Their jerseys kept switching from green to white, white to green. And he couldn't tell who was who, especially when he saw white jerseys, because he didn't know if that was his team or if that was the other team. And he'd throw a pass, and then he realized he threw it to the other team. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Ferengi quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, was having a lights-out, fantastic game. And they were fighting just to survive, just to make it into the playoffs. I mean, Team Enterprise was they were in the driver's seat with by being 8-0. They only had to win a few more games to guarantee them a spot in the playoffs. And then it was Geordie LaForge that noticed there was something weird going on with the football that Picard was using. He could see it in his visor because he could see energy waves coming off the ball, and it was disrupting his visor to the point where he was having a hard time focusing when the ball got thrown to him. All he saw was like energy waves, and the ball would like flash different colors in his, in the spectral vision of his eyes, and he couldn't catch a pass. He couldn't catch anything that was being thrown to him if Picard managed to, actually hit the right receiver and not throw an interception. And so he told Data, he said, I think we need to check this ball out. And when the ball was analyzed by Commander Data, he announced that, yeah, this isn't a football. This is what is known as a thought blocker device. It looks and feels exactly like a football, but it has a technology where it will disrupt your thinking, your thoughts. It will make you lose focus. It will give you headaches. And it'll make you play bad football. Then Chief O'Brien spoke up and he said, hey, Captain, if I may be so bold, I think I have an idea and a way that we can win this game. And so while O'Brien was working on his plan, for the second half, they switched balls, and a magically different Sir Patrick Stewart Mahomes walked onto the field. And he sure did show his dominance, because all of a sudden he was slinging touchdowns left and right. And even Geordie LaForge here made brilliant catches. And what do you know? Like Sir Patrick Stewart Mahomes has done for a lot of his career, he pulled his team from behind and actually had them in the lead with the final few minutes, like maybe a minute left in the game. He was just magnificent as he threw touchdown after touchdown, and now his team was winning. And the Packer Ferengi fans were cheering their team on, wondering if their hero, Aaron Rodgers, could pull off a victory. And it was right at that moment that Chief Miles O'Brien did his thing, because the Packers were in their huddle and they were getting ready to call what could possibly be the game-winning play. And while they were in the huddle, and the transporter chief successfully switched footballs on the Green Bay Packer Ferengi. And this was the final play of the game. They had to score a touchdown to win. And all of a sudden, Ferengi captain Aaron Rodgers felt like he was getting a headache. And on the very final play of the game, Aaron Rodgers couldn't tell who was who. He didn't know his teammates from the opposing teammates. The jersey colors kept switching, and he didn't know where to throw the ball, and he wound up taking a sack. And Picard and Team Enterprise wound up winning the game. And the Ferengi leader wound up walking with his head down low and dejected as the fans cried because their team lost. And Captain Picard was so happy as the team celebrated in the locker room, and they got another win. And he thanked the chief for his brilliant thinking. And he told Miles O'Brien, he said, "Hey, I would like you to be in charge of making sure the footballs haven't been tampered with and are legal." Captain Picard had told his chief that they didn't want to have a situation like Tom Brady had with the Patriots and Deflategate. Picard never wanted to be accused of cheating, even though the Ferengis got caught cheating, Picard felt it was a lesson learned where they got beat by their own medicine. And in season 1, that would have been a great way to end an episode with a morality message. Chief O'Brien did ask Picard if he could get some more playing time on the football field. He said, I was known as Kick-Ass in the movie Con Air, and I drove a 67 Corvette. But you can't quite see my face in this picture, but I am parked in a handicap spot. But I was a bad Apple DEA agent. And there is, I'm sorry. My license plate said as kicker. As kicker. That's what it was. Here I am. Now you can see my face. I look pretty good in shades too. I almost thought about wearing some shades while I do my transportation duties, or not transportation, but beaming transporter duties. And I am an Irishman, just like Scotty. So I've got that going for me as well. And Picard said, he thought, as kicker, earned some more playing time. And then he said, but I need you back at your duty station. So I'm going to end this video with a funny little cartoon by John Adams. Apparently, he did a bunch of these called Chief O'Brien at Work. And I'm just going to read one, but it's pretty funny. All it does is focuses on the life of Chief O'Brien. Now, Keiko is his wife. So she's basically talking to him. She on the comm badges, she says, Keiko to Miles, guess what I just found hidden in your sock drawer? Miles is like, I have no idea what's in my sock drawer. What is in my sock drawer? Commander Riker ordered me to hold onto that for him. He said it's an antique Klingon flashlight. I have no idea what it does. I'm talking about that pair of socks I explicitly told you to get rid of. Yeah, it's funny how ladies are kind of anal about socks, because my girlfriend, she actually went and bought me socks because she didn't like the socks I had in my sock drawer. I thought it was okay to keep them if I didn't wear them. You thought wrong. Striped socks are too immature. You're supposed to be a grown man. I want them transported out of your sock drawer and into space immediately. But okay. Beep, beep, beep. Then we look at his feet there and oh, I'm terrible at the transporter sound effects. And look at that. The striped socks are on his feet. There you go. I sent them into space. And there you have it. Another game in the tubes. And Team Enterprise is off to a fantastic start with Captain Picard leading the way. And they are in 8-0 on top of the division. And I am not sure how many more of these I'm going to make. So, but I think I have a few more left in the tank before I pull the plug on this and say I'm done doing this. But I hope you enjoyed these little episodes that I've created. I've had fun making them. So, live long and prosper. Wisconsin hugs.